Earth is 4.5 billion years old. That is a number so big it is almost impossible to imagine. So let's make it simple. If we squeeze the entire history of Earth into a single 24-hour day, starting at midnight, humans only show up in the very last 4 seconds before the next midnight. That is how new we are. Let's look at what happened during that long, wild day. 12 a.m., the birth of a fireball. The day begins in total chaos. Earth isn't a beautiful blue marble yet. It's a spinning ball of hot liquid rock. There is no solid ground, just oceans of lava. Space is a shooting gallery, and Earth is getting hit by massive rocks every single day. One of these rocks, the size of a whole planet, slams into us so hard that it almost breaks Earth apart. A massive chunk of debris flies off into space and stays nearby. That chunk eventually clumps together to become our moon. 3 a.m., the big cool down. Finally, things start to quiet down. The Earth's surface cools and hardens into a rocky crust. Huge volcanoes erupt everywhere, releasing steam and gas. As the planet cools more, that steam turns into water and it starts to rain. It doesn't stop for millions of years. This incredible downpour creates the first oceans. 4 a.m., the first spark of life. Deep in the dark, hot water near volcanic vents, something miraculous happens. Chemicals and energy mix together to create the first tiny living dots. These are simple bacteria. They are so small you couldn't see them, but they are the grandfathers of everything alive today. For a long time, these tiny dots are the only things on the planet. 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., the oxygen revolution. For hours on our 24-hour clock, these little bacteria evolve. One special group learns a new trick. They start eating sunlight and breathing out oxygen. This is a game changer. Slowly, the oxygen fills the oceans and then the sky. It turns the sky blue and creates the ozone layer, which acts like a shield against the sun's radiation. Without these tiny bacteria, the air would be poisonous to us today. 6 p.m., Earth becomes a snowball. Wait, things get weird. The Earth suddenly gets hit by a massive deep freeze. The entire planet from the North Pole to the South Pole is covered in ice miles thick. It stays this way for millions of years. Life almost disappears, but tiny organisms survive deep under the ice near warm volcanoes. Eventually, massive volcanic eruptions release enough CO2 to melt the ice and wake up the planet. 9 p.m., the explosion of life now. The clock is ticking fast. We are in the Cambrian explosion. Suddenly, life isn't just tiny dots anymore. The oceans are filled with strange, alien-looking creatures with eyes, legs, and hard shells. Some look like giant underwater woodlice. Others look like floating squids. Soon after, the first fish appear, the first animals with backbones. 10 p.m., moving to the land. Life gets crowded in the ocean, so it looks for a new home, dry land. First, moss and plants turn the brown rocks green, then insects crawl out. We're talking about dragonflies the size of hawks and millipedes as long as cars. Eventually, fish-like creatures grow lungs and sturdy fins, dragging themselves out of the mud to become the first land animals. 11 p.m., the age of dinosaurs. With only 1 hour left in the day, the dinosaurs take over. This is their world. For 180 million years, they are the kings and queens of the earth. Some are the size of chickens and some are as tall as 5-story buildings. Flowers start to bloom for the first time, and the continents we know today start drifting apart to their current spots. 11:40 p.m., the bad day. The dinosaurs think they will rule forever, but at 20 minutes to midnight, a giant asteroid the size of a city hits the Earth near Mexico. The impact is so powerful it sets the forests on fire and fills the sky with thick dust. The sun is blocked out for years. Plants die, then the plant eaters die, and then the T-Rex has nothing to eat. The age of dinosaurs is over in a flash. 11:41 p.m., the rise of the underdogs. With the big lizards gone, our ancestors, tiny furry mammals that look like shrews, finally come out of their burrows. They don't have to hide anymore. They grow bigger and smarter. Some go back to the ocean and become whales. Some stay in the trees and become monkeys and apes. 11:56 p.m., humans arrive. In the very last 4 seconds of the day, humans finally show up. We learn to walk on 2 legs, we master fire, and we start to speak. In the final fraction of a second, we build the pyramids, invent the printing press, fly airplanes, and land on the moon. Everything you have ever read about in a history book, every war, every invention, every king and queen, happened in the blink of an eye compared to the 4.5 billion years that came before us. We are the newest guests at a very old party, and the story of Earth is still being written.